Business, the construction industry's innovation and technology show.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the AEC Business podcast. My name is Aarni Heiskanen and my guest is Zachi Flatto. He's the CEO and co-founder of Skyline Cockpit, a startup offering a tower crane teleoperation, AI monitoring and autonomous driving system. Zachi, thanks for joining us again.
Hi, thanks for inviting again. Good seeing you.
Yeah, last year you were a guest on this same podcast as the CEO of Contech, which helps the Israeli construction technology startup ecosystem. But now you are heading a startup of your own. Can you tell us more about the background of Skyline Cockpit, why and how it came about, and why you're doing it right now?
Sure. So let's start from what we're doing. And this is very simple. We're just bringing down the operator, the tower crane operator, back to the ground. Now, think about it. We're in 2023. Is there any reason on earth for an operator to climb 100 meters every morning, spending 10, 12 hours roughly over there, eating his lunch over there, doing his business over there? Just doesn't make sense anymore. It's it's an historical thing, or you might say a historical mistake, but that was back then, I don't know, 100 years ago. There's no need for that anymore. And Skyline Cockpit is a spin-off of the biggest tower crane company in Israel called Skyline. These guys owns about 250 tower cranes of their own. They operate a couple of hundreds for the largest GCs in Israel. And they had that idea a few years ago and developed that internally within the corporate. And here we are.
Okay, yeah, very good. Yeah, definitely. Somebody said that the tower crane is the most recent innovation in construction in over 100 years. So now you're
Probably true.
now you're reinventing that as the second step. So as I mentioned, you're using several technologies. What kind of technologies are you using, and how do they come together in your solution?
So, I think we spoke about that previously. My basic attitude is that you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. So we're using technologies from other domains such as defense, automotive, which has a lot of similarities to the construction industry, and it's a combination of automation, teleoperation, and robotics technologies. So basically, the system includes. It depends on the type of the crane, but it includes between 5 to 8 different cameras and a lot of other sensors. So the basic setup is that we're creating like 160 degrees panoramic view, like creating the same view that the operator has upstairs, the same and much bigger because it covers a bigger area, and it covers all the dead spots, the dead areas that the operator over there just can't see. Um, Now, on top of that, we're broadcasting augmented reality, which includes the radius of the operation of the current radius of the crane itself, of the hook itself, and a landing point, which predicts the point that the load is going to meet the ground, which enables the operator to work in a more safe and precise way, and obviously quicker way than in the other way upstairs. In addition, he has a PTZ camera, which he can zoom directly to the load itself, inspect the crane itself instead of the inspection that he should do. And to be completely honest, in a lot of the cases they don't do that during the climb. In our case, he can inspect the nuts and bolts and other parts of the crane during a regular morning check, and the system will not able him to start and operate the crane before he gone through that list of inspections that he need to do by law. So that's in a nutshell what we're doing.
So, is this something that you can add to any existing crane, or does the crane has to have some special capabilities already?
So yeah, that's a great question. Where, for instance, in our own yard in Israel, we took an old Patain crane, a machine probably between 40 to 50 years old machine, and we've turned it into a modern robot. So just think about taking an old Chevy and turn it into a Tesla. And this is what we do. So we're a aftermarket solution. If you're familiar with the automotive industry, it's an aftermarket solution and a retrofit solution. So basically, we can connect to any type of existing tower crane, and I think that's one of our strengths because that's our DNA. Our parent company deals with tower cranes, and they're familiar with most of the types of tower cranes, and we have that knowledge internally. And this is not trivial, believe me. Like there's a lot of types, a lot of technology over there, and we already done a couple of challenging cranes.
Okay, so one thing that I would like to know a little bit more about is how the actual operation, the operator is operating the crane. Is he or she still using the same kind of like I don't know what kind of sticks they have that or joysticks they use to operate the crane, or is it already doing something without actually having the manual control over the operation?
So our basic attitude is that, and I faced that in my period in contact. Um, Implementation of the technology is the most challenging part in construction tech. Probably in other domains, but I'm familiar with construction. And hence, you have to keep it simple, and you have to keep like doing baby steps. So basically, we're imitating the surrounding of the cabin over there, just on the ground. So he's got two joysticks, similar to the joysticks that he's got over there. Just with a couple of additional features on top of these joysticks. He's got the screens. It consists of three 55-inch screens that stitching together a panoramic view, and he's got a chair, the same operator chair that they put over there, just to give him a good feeling that he's still operating, a big machine, a significant, big, dangerous machine. He should get the same sense and the same feeling when he's operating that from the ground. Because, we could have given him like an Xbox control and he could do the same job. But we believe this is, it's an evolution. You need to, first of all, get the person to the ground and give him the same feeling, but supports him technology wise with, taking decisions and ADAS. I will speak about it later, optimizing his operations, but the basic feeling should be the same because it's the same person.
Yeah, yeah, and I would imagine that over time those controls have developed and evolved so that they are pretty good already. for doing that job. So otherwise they wouldn't use them. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously we're using like heavy duty joysticks and high quality heavy duty, but basically it's the same joysticks.
Yeah. So now we are moving the person from the tower from upstairs to the ground, which makes sense, as you said. So how does this solution increase the safety and efficiency or productivity of the operation?
I think first of all, the guy is not exposed to high accidents anymore because he's not climbing over there. Okay, so from basic is much more safer than previously. Then his visibility over the job site is much better. No blind spots. Not to speak about the ADAS, that ADAS technology that is shortening the load trajectories by using the swaying of the load itself to optimize the load cycle. So that's an algorithmic technology that we've added on top of the basic technology. So speaking about savings, we know that we save at least 1 hour in shortening the cycles. And that's without taking into account the additional hour that it takes to climb, in average, 30 minutes to climb up, 30 minutes to climb down. And in a lot of the cases, in a lot of the job sites, the job site is just waiting for the guy to climb over there. And I think maybe the most interesting aspect, and thinking forward, is that have you climbed a crane, Arnie?
No,
Did you
no,
have that?
no, I
So
haven't.
it's a tough working environment, and you can imagine yourself that after 2 hours, 3 hours spending over there in winds, in extreme weather, that operator is not operating in the same situation at the same productivity and efficiency as he was in the morning. In our case, he's just getting into his seat. He can have his coffee. He can go to the toilet. He can make a 5 minutes break, and it's okay.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
can he can stay at the same level of focus and precise and work. After 9 hours, he's still okay, which is not the situation over there. And bear in mind that the tower crane is the bottleneck of your job site, and it's the most precious resource in your job site. And when the operator is upstairs, it's like an enigma. You don't know what's going on there. You just don't know. Whereas in our case, the project manager, the job site manager can walk into the control unit, see the whole job site, speak to the operator, speak to the rigger. The rigger can get inside and speak to the operator. It's a completely different situation.
yeah, yeah. And I would also imagine that the safety of the people who are near the on the job site also improves, because now the operator has a better visibility over the site. You can see if there are any dangers lurking on the site, much easier than no, than traditionally. Yeah.
Definitely, and again, he's got that PTZ camera which he can zoom into the load, see the rigger. He can see that how well the load is connected to the chain. It's a completely different situation. Today they have to count on the riggers, which in a lot of the situations speaks different languages, completely different people, and in a lot of the cases, the communication over there is pretty bad.
Yeah. By the way, I remember hearing about some operator who became seasick because the crane was waving. Yeah,
Totally. Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
yeah. So you already touched on some of the some of the challenges you had with the technology and implementing it on existing cranes. But what has been the most difficult thing for you in the development?
That's so first of all, the part of creating um, the same surrounding for the operator, like imitating the feel of the crane. Um, just to give you an example, when we've started with the first users, they said that the sound is missing for them. And in a lot of the cases, they speak about a sixth sense of the operator. So he knows, like, when you're driving a car, you're driving a lot of years, you got like a sense of what will happen. It's the same over there. And they don't hear the engine. They don't hear the crane itself. Um, so what we've done is putting microphones upstairs and a speaker on the seat itself to give them the feeling, the sound of what's going on upstairs. And surprisingly enough, it took a few days, and they said, "Take it out. I don't need it anymore because
Ah.
the current technology you're giving me, the cameras, the PTZ camera, the augmented reality, the parameters that are over there on the screens, that's okay." So it takes a few days, and they get used to it. And believe me, they will never go upstairs anymore. Never, ever. We've seen that.
Yeah, that's always a good sign when the user said that I will not go back to the way it was.
No
That's
way.
always, yeah, that's very good. Um, well, I don't know how if there is a lack of good operators. In general, there is a lack of workforce in the construction sector, but as you, I understand that you don't actually have to learn a lot of new skills to operate it in this way. But what about the skill set? Is it how long is the learning curve, and does this open perhaps opportunities for others who have not been in the crane operation, let's say, profession earlier?
So I'm separating it into short term and long term. In the short term, we believe that we need experienced operators to start with, okay, and get their feedback and get their confidence in the system. And in this case, it's quite easy. It takes 2 to 3 days of training. I'm speaking about a seasoned operator, and they can operate the system. It's it's straightforward. It's very easy. Then, speaking about long term, we've got a huge problem with human labor in construction in general, but specifically in speaking about operators. Just, a fun fact, the average age of operators globally is nearly 60. Okay. And there's no new young people getting into that profession. They just don't want to. And it's
Yeah.
not a matter of money because they earn well, but the ones who want to climb every morning 100 meters and spend 10 hours in a dungeon, that's a dungeon.
Yeah.
So there's no new labor going to that profession. And I believe we're, kind of reinventing that profession, turning it into a techie one where, every youngster that plays his Xbox will be able to work in this profession and get paid well and work in a nice environment and getting into an industry where we all know you'll probably get work for the rest of your life. So there's a plenty of work for crane operators.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I believe we're reinventing that.
Yeah. That sounds plausible. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Um, By the way, now that you're doing this in a controlled environment, you have all this technology. Can one operator actually operate more than one cranes?
So technically, the answer is yes. So we can connect the control unit to several cranes. But then there are two questions. The first one is the utilization of the cranes themselves.
Hmm.
Um, but probably when you're speaking about the multi-crane site, full five tower cranes, there's no real need for five operators. No way.
Hmm.
Like they
Hmm.
never work together at the same time. So
Hmm.
probably on a five crane job site, you'll be good enough with three operators. So yes, there is a big saving in labor. Uh, then obviously there's also a question of regulation, but it's different from geography to geography. Uh, so the answer is yes, this is completely possible.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, we haven't talked about the pricing of the product. I understand that it's still early days and you're piloting and so on, but what kind of payback period would you see in the future for this technology?
So basically, our plans is to work with distributors, companies such as our parent company, Skyline. So
Mm,
these are rental tower crane company,
mm,
and for them, it's straightforward selling because they sell the crane itself. Or they're not selling the crane; they're renting the crane.
mm,
So our model is similar to tower crane OEM. So we'll rent the the system for a monthly payment, and then it's either going to connect to continue with the next project or coming back to us.
One thing that about the technology that interests me also is that now you're having the operator on the side, of course, on the site, but theoretically he could be anywhere, remote, doing remote operation, or is that does that make sense?
Yeah, completely. Just to give you an idea, we demoed our technology from Nice, France, Miami, Denver, Colorado, operating in a trade shows with a control unit, a real crane in Israel, thousands of miles over the web with no latency. Okay,
Okay.
and it worked completely well. So they operated and they had like a video call with their mobiles, and it was completely real time. So yes, technically it's working already. Currently, we're working with fiber optics on the connection from the crane to the operating unit itself, but it's possible to work on the web over the web.
Yeah. Yeah. So you said or mentioned these. You have had some demos. You held a demo days in Northampton, UK. Can you tell us a little bit more about that experience and what kind of feedback you got from that event?
Yeah, so we've got a partner, a distributor in England called Radius. It's a tower crane company based in Northampton. So for me, it was a great experience because I got a good feeling of the customers, and it's different to speak and to see the reaction of people seeing a real demo. And the interesting thing was that we had a bunch of ex operators, which turn into managers, health and safety managers, operation or machinery managers. And these guys worked on the job site as operators for many years. So they know the feel of working upstairs. But at the same time, they understand, and you could see their reaction, which was very good. And they understand the potential of using that technology in their job site. And again, the feedback was very, very good. Specifically over there, we believe that there is a good potential for British GCs to turn their site into more, automatic one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, based on what I've heard from you now, I think you're doing a remarkable thing here. I see I see a great future for your company. But what are your next steps?
So currently, we're building our distribution channel. So if there are in the audience any potential distributors, tower crane companies, you're more than welcome to connect us. We're doing that specifically right now in Europe. We're about to start in the Nordics pretty soon. We understood that there is a good potential for technology in the Nordics because of the extreme weather. So we know that when it drops down to minus 20 Celsius or more than that, operators are not going upstairs anymore.
No,
They're not spoiled, but they're not going upstairs in these temperatures. We can enable a continuous job site, continuous operation of the job site using our technology. So this is not nice to have. This is about operating your job site or not operating your job site because of the weather. So I believe we can be a game changer, a real game changer over there. So that's our next spot.
Okay, very good. So so if our listeners really want to contact you, how can they do that, and how can they find more information on your Skyline Cockpit?
So that's easy. It's our website is SK Cockpit, SKCOCKPIT.com, S from Skyline Cockpit, and on my LinkedIn, obviously, I'm there always.
All right. Zachi, this has been a really exciting discussion, and I really feel, as I said, that you are doing something really game changing here, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about you and hopefully seeing your technology here in Finland as well.
Same here. We'll be there soon. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Subscribe to this podcast and visit aec-business.com, the award-winning blog, for more news and stories.